I thought I'd do a video on home defence laws in the UK because I know that's quite a popular topic and it's one that a lot of people sort of complain about and argue about, and yes, they're not very good, but they're not quite as bad as a lot of people think. So basically what we've had for a long time is something called reasonable force. So essentially if somebody breaks into your house, you're allowed to sort of attack them, but it's only meant to be a sort of a reasonable, sort of almost counter force to what they're using. So if somebody just breaks in, like maybe looking for your stuff, you can probably punch them a few times and that's about it. But if they pulled a knife on you and attempted to stab you, you'd essentially have reasonable right to kill them. And this is where the law is quite confusing, because what is reasonable force a lot of the time, and it's something that in court it can be argued that it was not reasonable, you know, even if they were armed or whatever, to kill them. So that causes a lot of problems, and we've had a few cases where burglars have been shot or whatever, or beaten up, and then they said no, you know, the homeowner's guilty, and a lot of people said that they were just defending themselves. And although I definitely agree that the homeowner should have every right to defend themselves and their families with force, some of these cases are a bit sort of, you know, the media will not report on everything to sensationalise it. They only report on what sounds like it makes a better story, and this is why the Daily Mail isn't a very good site for all of these sort of home defence articles. The famous one is Tony Martin, who was a farmer and his house had been broken into lots of times and the police had done nothing. And when some burglars broke in one time, he fired his shotgun down the stairs at them. And this is where it gets complicated, because one of them died from getting shot in the back. And Tony claimed that he didn't actually know that they were running away, and he, you know, just saw some burglars down there and shot at them in their general direction. And of course one of them was unlucky and got the bird shot in the back and died. So that makes it complicated, and what also makes the Tony Martin case a bit more complicated than a lot of people realise is he didn't legally own his shotgun, or he did at one stage, then had his licence revoked. The police forgot to take the shotgun away from him although they'd revoked the licence, and then he'd obviously used an illegal gun he shouldn't have owned to kill the burglar. There was also another case where a man chased a burglar down the street who'd held his family hostage and basically beat his head in with a cricket bat, and that got him in trouble as well. And while I could understand that, you know, I think he got acquitted afterwards, which makes sense, because obviously if you've been held hostage for a few hours, I don't think you can logically, you know, you get a chance to go for it and you do it, because when people are under that sort of mental pressure they act like animals, because your survival instinct kicks in, not what your legal instinct would be. So yeah, basically, as the law seems to stand at the moment, depending on what a criminal does in your house seems to depend on how far you can get away with what you do to them. So basically, any sort of thing like a machete, a bat or whatever is legal if you turn it on them, as long as you had justification to do it. So if they attacked you or whatever, or looked like they were going to attack you. And we have had quite a few cases where like a homeowner stabbed a burglar or whatever, killed them or injured them, and then they've been released later on, like they're held for questioning, and the police don't even take it to court with them, they're not charged. So the laws aren't as bad as everyone says, but they seem to be getting slightly better, because we've had that case recently where the farmer who shot two burglars with his shotgun when they broke into his house, he was acquitted. He didn't kill either of them, but he wounded them, and he was acquitted even though he'd actually gone and opened his gun safe, loaded the gun, which some people would argue means premeditated murder. So yeah, it's not as bad as everyone says, and although I don't really like to talk about politics on my channel, if UKIP get into power, they seem to have a much more sensible policy to do with firearms ownership and defence, where under their policy, by the sound of it, they'd be for bringing back handguns and sort of proper rights for self-defence. Well, I hope that's cleared some stuff up. I'd be happy to do another video or answer questions in the comment if you have them. Thanks for watching. Bye.